Hello and welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack Duxbury, that's Tay-Tay. And joined by the wonders of the interweb, I have the rather lovely...
Hi, I'm Rachel K Collier.
How you doing, Rachel?
I'm good, I'm really good, thanks Jack.
Rachel, we've just had a short break because it's one very hot where we're both recording.
Boiling in here, yeah. Sorry if I'm sweating.
It's cool. 2, we've reset the cameras and check out our other videos. This is going to be... I spent the weekend looking into your stuff and listening on Spotify, and I wanted to take this opportunity to ask you a few questions. It's a little bit of an interview, if that's all right.
Totally cool. Yeah.
New ground for me, but check out the other videos. We've got one of the performance where you're doing your track Stay Wild, right?
Yeah.
And then we have a walkthrough on the MC-707. Check those videos out because we're going to be talking about stuff here. But a little background, again, the top brass at Andertons were at a special event at Abbey Road. What was that event?
Yeah, last summer. So it was super fun. It was like the launch of all these brand new Roland products. And like the Roland big man was there from like Japan and everything. And yeah, I basically got to perform with the MC-707 like on the launch. So like no one had ever heard of it. I like couldn't post anything on socials. Obviously it was all behind the scenes. And yeah, so then I just did my first ever kind of doorless performance. Yeah, with just no computer, which was kind of cool. And yeah, in front of a big audience in Studio 2 at Abbey Road. Oof. So I had like all, you know, the coolest thing was like all the pictures up on the wall of everyone who'd worked in the studio, like the Beatles.
And the pianos.
The pianos. It was like, it was pretty special actually. But I was pretty nervous as well because, yeah, I wanted to like get it right. You know, I was rehearsing like till midnight the night before, just wanting it all to flow. And but it was really fun, and I met some really cool people there as well, like Ashton Miranda.
I worked with him. Yeah. I did a few months. Yeah,
he's cool, isn't he? And Alex, the other guy who was playing some of the
Hutchins.
Yes, yeah. The one. Yeah. So, and it was just really fun. And Cuckoo came from like he flew over. You know, there was loads of cool people there basically. And
surprisingly tall, huh?
He is tall. Yeah,
big lad.
He's tall, and it was great. We had a really fun time, and yeah, just working with David Alund as well was fun. He always shows me cool new tricks with the Roland gear, so it was good.
And that's smart of Roland because. That thing where you said you went doorless for the first time, because if you don't know Rachel, before we carry on the interview, go listen to Spotify especially as well and get an idea of the music Rachel's making, and then look at YouTube and see that you're an Abelton guru, right? So it must have been a big draw for Roland to get you to put your push 2 down and play one of these.
Well, yeah, and to be honest, it's like it take a lot, you know, to do that. So. And yeah, and like I think I said earlier, wasn't it? I got drawn to synthesis and then like little synths, and I was really into it. And then we'd have like jams, you know, like synthy nerd jams, and I would always feel a bit like, oh damn, I got my synth here, but like there's no microphone, I can't really even do any vocals, and I would always feel like, oh, I need to have my computer, my interface, the whole rig, you know. And Jade Wee actually, she was like, hey, just use, I think I've had this Chaos Pad Mini, so I ended up with this like tiny little rig with all little bits, which is really fun if you're just on the go and you're just chilling on the train, or you want to actually make music where you're not in front of your computer. So then when this was coming out, and I actually met up with Roland to chat about the System 8, and then Dave showed me this. And I was like, whoa, like it does a lot, you know? So just with one unit then, I can then, you know, jam, basically chilling on the sofa or in the field with a power bank, with a microphone and sample. So yeah, it was pretty, yeah, it was maybe the only thing I could imagine like performing doorlessly like that with. I think I would be a bit nervous with sort of multiple different things and having to sync up with MIDI clock.
Oh, yeah.
You know, MIDI clock can be hardcore, can't it? But I know there are loads of cool stuff that you can do that with, but I feel quite comfortable with the workflow of the 707. But, you know, it is different. It's not you can't really compare them because like one is just doorless and it's just different. Obviously you've got limitations compared to with a computer you can just do whatever. You know, the options are endless when you perform with a computer. But then it's like, I just see them as like different instruments, like a piano and a guitar.
And you explained all the different routings there. And one of the first questions I'd love to ask you, having, stalked you online for the last few days, is how you're incredible at multitasking, holding all these routings or routings together, different products. What did you do before? Did you do any jobs before music? Were you an educator or anything like that? Because I just think, and there you were just teaching me online. I'm just fascinated.
No, like I've had obviously random jobs growing up. Dishwasher.
What's the worst one? Is that one?
Probably the washing dishes at the Greasy Spoon. That one was bad. I was 12. So then I had the laundry. I quite liked that. Then I did M&S. My best job was a custodian. It sounds hilarious. The castle keeper. So I had this massive key and I used to go and open the castle every day. But I used to work on my own. It was great. I listened to tunes. I took a little keyboard. But that was the worst one, probably the Greasy Spoon. Yeah, that was not nice. Cleaning those beans. Oh man. Anyway, side note there. But I did all the way through like my career, when I've been trying to build up my music career, I've taught piano to kids, which is funny because I'm a total self-taught pianist. I'm pretty bad at reading music. I can just about get by. But I like to show kids what they can do, with the keys. And so I did that for a long time. And I think that's maybe helped in my enthusiasm to share cool music tricks with people. And then, the more I was getting into like production, I'd have the kids over. I'd be like, and if they were struggling with rhythm, he'd be like, I tell you what, let's do some finger drumming, and like, so piano really started to move a little bit. And the parents, most of them loved it, some parents probably is not the most traditional route, but yeah, I think that helped. And I still love showing kids, there's no better feeling when, kids watch you do a little beat or whatever and their just faces light up. That is, and adults, anyone who gets excited by things I'm excited by, it's just fun.
I think you do incredibly, and also the singing, the playing. I was going to ask you about the piano playing.
Oh God,
and the production. It's you're really out there on your own on the amount of stuff you're doing. Because I love sometimes you're doing the little licks on the Yamaha Reface.
Oh yeah.
And it's got some. I had the same keyboard, and you picked exactly the same preset that I loved. Dyna Lead, come on.
Yeah.
But the little runs, and just we're a shop here at Andertons, so I'm going to talk about equipment with you. So I've watched all those videos, and you have the System 8 and the Rev 2 behind you for a long time.
Yeah.
I just wondered if I'm a huge James Blake nerd, and I love the Rev 2. When I played it, I fell in love with it. But a lot of people want to decide between that, the Prophet, and did you have that same wrangle in your head of what Dave Smith to get?
Do you know what? It was funny. This is so bad. It was Christmas time, and I just wanted to buy myself a Christmas present, and I justified it to myself that obviously I got my System 8, which is awesome, digital. I was like, I don't have a polyphonic analog synthesizer.
Yeah.
And because obviously I've got a lot of keyboards, sometimes my family's coming and they're like, how many pianos do you need? But obviously they don't really get that they're all different. But I just like the sound of the Prophet. My friend Taz has got one. Obviously seen a couple of other people jamming with it online. I didn't know they were going to release the third one like straight after that at the NAMM show and stuff. But so I just went for it and just bought it. I'm quite bad actually. I just got excited and thought I'm just going to buy myself a Prophet for Christmas.
I wish I was that brave. I can tell you're brave. But on the System 8, I recently played the Jupiter X, and it made me long for the System 8
it's
in
really
a way.
good. It's really good.
Yeah, what do you like about it, and what do you use it for?
So the System 8, right? It's a bit of it was a kind of a story how I decided to get that one. I was producing and I used the ProMars plug-in software, and I was like, damn, this is so great. And but as I've evolved producing over the years, I do prefer being hands-on, like audio. I love working with audio and just like being able to manipulate it quicker. I hate sifting through presets. It's not, I prefer just to be hands-on. And then I realised that the System 8, then I was playing with my friend's Hanny, and Hannah was jamming on it, and I was like, that synth is cool. And then Hannah was showing me, oh look, it's got like Jupiter in it and all these different synths. And I did a bit of research, and I realised then you can put that ProMars plugin as a plug out into the synth. So then immediately I was like more interested. I was like, whoa, that means that. And then obviously you put the plug out in it, and then it doesn't have to be connected to the computer. It's just like that brain is in it. Like, it's just really clever technology. So, and then obviously I'm hands-on then with my ProMars. I'm no more touching the knobs on the screen. So I love the fact that you could have all these cool, like different synthesizers and be swapping them out and changing them. So the synth just can, always be something new. So that's what drew me to the System 8. And then evidently that's what drew me to my sort of relationship with Roland then.
And in the plug-out ones, which ones do you have loaded in there? So you've got the ProMars at the moment.
I've got the ProMars in there at the moment, and I think I've just got the Jupiter and then the System 8 itself. So you can have 3 basically different synths in one, and then you just flip between them. And
what I liked is the lights light up, showing you what's... is that right?
Yeah.
So
for example, exactly what you said. So like with the ProMars, it might not have like 2 oscillators. I can't really remember, or 3. No, it doesn't have 3 oscillators. Yeah. So it only lights up on oscillators 1 and 2. So it's got that parameter. I mean, that's really cool.
That's what I was dying for, that on the Jupiter X. I know it sounded great. It had all this new stuff, but I think they nailed it with the System 8. Other thing I want to say, how much are you enjoying your OP1?
Oh God. So much. Have you got one?
Yeah, it's the best thing in the world, right?
I do absolutely love it. Like the tiny synths thing is a thing. Like as I've been playing live for a few years, I started off with this massive rig, at the King Korg. I've got lovely flight cases for them all. And as the years have gone on, sometimes I don't always have the luxury of traveling with a tour manager, so I've actually tried to downsize my rig, just because it gets tiring, especially then setting up your studio, taking down your studio. It's a thing. It gets annoying, and especially if the shows aren't like big budgets or whatever, which a lot of the UK shows are quite crap. Fees actually. Yeah. So, when you're doing a show every single week and having to de-rig your studio and then set it back up again, if you've got minimal gear, like smaller gear, it just helps a little bit. So that's why I actually got the little Yamaha DX, because it fitted just really small in front of, and I switched that one. Yeah, so sometimes, and then because I switch my King Korg to the side, and then also when you've got big keyboards in front of you, sometimes that relationship with your audience is a bit distorted. It's like, so there's all these like crazy things to do with, is it ergonomics? I don't know, like that way you're performing that have led to my synth decision choices, if that makes sense. And then obviously the OB1 is just tiny, but I only got it in March because I was playing with my friend Billy, and this was with the NAMM show, and we were just jamming again, having like a little doorless jam, and then he was playing the OB1 and showing me, and I was like, oh God, this thing is so cool. But it's it's amazing. It's a great little synth, and you probably see from my Instagram. It's just, again, the fact that you can just have it right in front of you. I feel like the synth that's in front of you, that fits in front of you, is the synth you'll play the most.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think that all the sounds that come out of it, all the synth engines, the value, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. So,
I love it. Right, if there was, you've got a lovely studio there, but word on the street is you might be moving. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you, out of all your bits of gear, if there was to be a fire, oh my God! And you had to grab one synthesizer that you own, what are you going to grab?
Does it have to be a synth? Because I would...
No, it can actually it can be any musical instrument you've got.
Yeah, well, I would first, to be honest, grab my computer because...
Oh, come on, let's not do the computer. Come on, let's do something
All
else.
right, okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to push you here for a real instrument.
Oh man, this is really... Oh God. Wow, I'm just looking around the room here. If there's a fire... Oh.
Come on, the fire now. Come on, we got to run out, Rachel. Grab something now.
I just grab the push on the OP1 that's in front of me, you know? Just like, anything.
Push an OP1, you've made a decision.
If it was just in front of me, I would just grab those. But then that would be really hard.
Don't worry, that's cool. You said it now. That's the truth. I pushed you for it. Right.
You can't lift heavy things, you know, if you're in a rush.
I like it. That's your excuse.
Yeah.
Right. I had listen on Spotify. Mm-hmm. And firstly, I love that latest track that you made with Paul Davies.
Oh yeah, Sugar Coated.
Yeah, how did that come about? And where did you do that in the same room before lockdown? Because it came out in May, right?
No. He messaged me on Instagram and just said, "Hey, Rach, I'm doing like a synth looping thing," and it evolved a little bit from what it was going to be. And he just said, "Oh, would you be up for doing some vocals on it?" And then he sent it to me, and he had this really cool melody. The chorus melody, which is probably the best melody in it, not my melody, but I just then took his like sort of I think it was like a 4-bar loop thing, and then wrote like some verses and then put some lyrics for it, and then it was really fun. We just did it all remotely, and then I sent back Paul like really rough guide. He like built it a bit more up, but we were both working in Abelton, so we just sent the projects. And then he sent it back to me, and then with his like extra bits, and then I like did some proper vocal production on it then. So I said, "Hey Paul, do you mind if can I do the vocal stuff?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it." So, because obviously he was producing it, so I didn't want to step on his toes, but he was really
it sounds great.
Yeah,
it sounds...
So he made, I think I added like one synth pad and then did all the vocals, but he's a sick producer, like... the mix he sent through as well, I was like, whoa Paul, like you should do more of this, you're really good at it. So I was like pleasantly surprised, because obviously I hadn't heard that type of style from him, but he knows
it sits really well. It sits really well when I listen to it, because I wanted to ask you, when I listened to RKC, when I listened to the album, I felt I got hit with, I even made a note of it, of like these 5 things.
Ah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about these 5 things. Width, dynamics, distortion, tom-toms, and intros.
Ah.
Now, so firstly, like, what do you think, like, all your tracks, including the first track, the width on it, do you feel like you do you use widening plugins, or are your reverbs and effects are so like out there?
That's what I absolutely love about like being an electronic producer, and I know that sounds funny because I've been producing a sort of crossover in the last couple of weeks, and when you're doing electronic music you can go nuts with the FX. So so I I know it's not the best practice, but I whack loads of cool effects on my master chain, and in certain breakdowns or intros I'll like increase the spread and the width and things like that. But
on the master bus.
Yeah, because with Ableton you can export all the tracks, individual tracks, with the master effects. So that's really cool. You can have your masters and your send effects if you want, but I usually turn off my sends when I do exporting. But so I use effects on the master channel, obviously on the single channels as well, but just to give that like more of a shape and sometimes a bit of spread and things like that. So, do
you have a favourite reverb plugin? I think your reverbs are beautiful.
The Valhalla. It's just the Valhalla.
Are you a vintage verb? It sounds incredible.
You can't really beat it. Like, it's so it's not even expensive. Like, and they've got some other ones I really want to try. They've got the vintage Valhalla Room. I saw this dude, a cool producer guy on YouTube actually, Ill Factor. He uses it. Put it like on a drum send. I thought that sounded cool. I want to try that one out. And then they've got the Supermassive, which is really like a fun
free
one.
Is that free?
Free, and it's so fun. I'm just gonna. Oh, hang on, iPad's dying, which is controlling the camera.
It's all right. And then my second one was dynamics. Now,
Dynamics,
I think that
yeah.
how do you... And then I put after it drops, levels, and mastering. So I was impressed by the album.
Yeah.
And I'm not an electronic music producer.
Ah, okay.
But what I loved about it was how you got it so loud, and then it felt quiet, but it never got quiet. I don't know how. Do you find that's in the do you master your own stuff as well?
No,
or
I don't master.
How do you approach it?
Yeah, like I go in on my transitions, so like I put like locators in Abelton, and like really craft them. Like I did a little session, I think it was it would have been 2 years ago now, with Christopher Harris. He's a mix engineer, and he actually mixed my album. So he mixed most of the tracks on there, bar a couple. And I sort of did a little session with him before mixing, and he just pointed out a bit on some of the transitions, you know, like with the automations to make stuff loud before it drops, and, you know, with all on each individual track. And I was like, whoa, you're really going in here? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So that's kind of changed my transition game a bit and made me be a bit like, okay, cool, I'm going to spend longer on this. And then make sure those transitions are like, you know, really impactful. But It's funny though, because people have said that the album sounds overproduced. A couple of comments like that, which I was like, but then I don't really care, whatever. It's all good. Most people seem to like it, so...
I didn't. I just was shocked at the scene changes. It felt all very cinematic. And I put in their intros as well, because every intro was arresting. And it felt like the intro, if your superpower might be intros.
I love an intro. It has to have a good intro. Even when I'm performing live, but if you're doing live looping, the intros, you do have to kind of be a bit of a slave to the way you have to loop stuff up, which my dad is so funny. He's just like, why is it always such a long intro? And you're like, Dad, he always hates the intros, especially like those a cappella-y ones. But yeah, the intro is like the most important part of the song. It's like, that's the part like that makes people want to listen, isn't it? So, you know, so I think it's, well, it's not the most important, of course it's not, but you can have fun with intros, you know?
And they were all interesting sonically. Did you make them all... I'm going to stick to my list here, because the next one for me is Distortion. Mm-hmm. And I loved Dinosaur and Poison.
Oh, yeah.
I thought like the way you approached Distortion and how that created depth, and it paired up with the lyrics of Dinosaur, which I'm not going to ask you who that's about, but it's I loved the lyric. Yeah, I can only assume who it was, poor chap or girl, whoever it was.
Well, it's just a number of experiences, but then
okay.
Yeah, one guy topped it off for me, so that's when I was like, oh, I can't cope with this anymore. I'm going to get into words.
The way you're using the do you have a favourite, just to get to the gear bit about it?
So I've got quite a selection of saturation plugins. It's not hardware. There's like the Sound Toys Decapitator and the Devil Lock. But then I also just love the Ableton stock ones, the pedal and the overdrive. I use them all the time. They're awesome. And then, yeah, just probably those four are my top saturators. And the Ableton stock saturator as well is good. That's the distortion I'll turn to. And what I like...
It sounded killer.
Oh, thank you. I like to create sends with just obviously distortion send, then with maybe a bit of slap delay and distortion. And then you can send loads of different parts to those sends, and it just gives this extra little bit of cool vibe, I think, anyway. Yeah, distortion is the best. Oh, and the Kilohertz saturator is quite good as well.
Oh, I don't have that. I'll check that out.
Yeah, you're making me sound so nerdy here, but yeah.
Oh, I knew it. When I heard it. But we'll get onto that. And the last one I put was the tom-toms. I just think throughout the whole album, I had it on the toms. Are those... Do you ever record them in, or do you just have like some secret samples? Or
so it's addictive drums. Do you know?
Right.
Yeah. And just sort of finger drum them in and then play with the velocities. But then lately, sometimes I get Vicky, who's one of my, I have Rhea and Vicky, who I play live with, the live percussionists. Sometimes if Vicky's over and she's got her SBD or something, or we've got V drums as well, I'll just be like, babes, can you just layer a couple of, she just does the MIDI hits for me, and then I'll do the right sounds, you know? So it's none of it's actually real.
But the way you affect them, they're so precise and clear. Yeah.
They're really crushed. They got like probably, I devil lock them, but then you have to automate the devil lock down and stuff, because otherwise you have this really tone that, like after the toms. So, but yeah, toms are great. I've actually got to add some toms to a track this weekend. And Vicky's coming. We're going to have a little doorless jam. So I think I'm just going to get her to do some MIDI toms for me.
Right. Now, I can hear that passion. I can hear your attention to detail. It's there if you see it, if you listen on Spotify. Now, I had a little chat with you before we started rolling about, I've only seen you on YouTube, and the same with me, right? You've seen us on, but we existed before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And we were doing music, and I just want people to go listen to your music. Because I know it's hard when people are bigging you up and we're on the camera, but go listen to your music, and you can hear the genuine expertise in it. Because sometimes I think on YouTube it feels like we only exist here, and the work you're doing outside of it. Is there your production skills? Have you done it for anyone else?
Yeah. So like some of the other artist projects I'm working on at the moment are not released yet, but some of it I'm quite excited by. It's mainly my mates, but like I've just produced a track for Mary actually, which I'm really excited
Mary
about.
Spender?
Yeah. So just taking it to a different place, so that's been fun. So but then I've got sort of do a lot of like sort of production music as well, so stuff for TV and sync and things like that. So I've had a few little things on random TV.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to lure out to be like, because it's horrible when people say, what you're doing. I want to get to this point of, I hope you don't mind me saying it. I do feel that how do you feel you're treated as a woman on YouTube? And do you think people are taking you, like, what are the pitfalls? Because Dinosaur, I can hear it in some of the lyrics in there. Was that before YouTube, or is YouTube better? Or?
Yeah, like, to be honest, right, I do see some of my mates get hounding, and oh God, mine comments, they're not too bad. I feel I get like a mostly love, which is really nice. I think the YouTube, the people who subscribe, well, obviously they're super sweet, and which is great. And actually, when I released the Dinosaur song, I thought, oh no, I hope I don't offend anyone here. But it was before YouTube. It was my sort of days as a top line writer, and kind of going into the session super young, keen to like get in and produce and things. And it was like, no, girls don't touch the mouse. It was just kind of this thing where it was like the boys with the backs to you, and then they just be, you just do the lyrics, innit? You just do the melody, and then you try to be like, oh, I think that synth would sound cool, like if you moved it. No. And then there was like sessions where I'd be in a session with a producer. This actually happened, and he had absolutely no idea, right, how to comp a vocal. Like, he didn't have a clue. Why would he have a clue? He's just been making beats. He's never done that before. So we were stacking vocals, right? And he was just like dragging the audio file and dropping at the end of the page. And I was like, I need to stack. So we need to like do them on top of each other. And I was like, did you mind? Dude? Like, I do this all the time. Like, not to sound like an idiot, but I was tracking vocals all the time. He's like, oh, no, love, I got this. And it was just like, oh my God, like, who am I working with here? Like, are you a good producer? Like, maybe I could make a better beat than this. And it was actually all these sessions that I did that made me think, screw this, man. Like, why am I always getting sent beats from producers who, when I'm in the studio with, think I'm useless. It was just kind of, yeah. And so that built up that frustration of just, you know, no one really listening to you if it was, oh, hang on, camera stop. Let me just...
Do it.
So, yeah, so that frustration of like, that it just being in these sessions after sessions, and it was never the girl who could touch the mouse. And so it was always like a bit in me, and just like, oh God, and it makes you a bit like, I don't need any man, you know. It does make you a bit like, I can do this alone, you know, trying to prove yourself. But then the Dinosaur song actually was all of those experiences which are in the lyrics, but actually it was a really bad experience that I had at a conference where I was like the only girl on the panel, and when we were going around, they were passing the microphone, and like when I spoke, I just got this vibe that this one producer in the corner and the one next to me is just rolling their eyes and yawning and staring at the floor. And then like I said something, and this guy like challenged it, and there was a huge audience. It was really unprofessional. And then after, I said to my manager, I said, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but was it me, or every time I spoke, they yawned, rolled their eyes, or sort of looked bored? And like, yeah, my manager was just like, I am so angry. Like, and you know, I was there with the Abelton guys as well. They were angry. Everyone was angry, and it was just like, it was just horrible. I honestly, if we hadn't have had 200 people in front of us, I would have probably said, who do you think you are? And probably, you know, sworn at them. Anyway, it was just not a nice experience. It was probably the first true misogynistic real life experience, you know, with the sessions, and, you know, those producers who didn't have a clue. They weren't trying to be an idiot. They were just in control, you know, but these guys were clearly mocking me, just thinking, oh, she hasn't got a clue, what's she on about? And it was upsetting, you know. It was like, this sucks. Like, why do you not want to listen to what I've got to say? Like, just because I'm different to you and I don't produce in Cubase and I don't use vinyl and all this, you know, just because I'm a bit different, like, doesn't mean to say what I'm saying is rubbish. And actually there was 2 younger music producer guys, and they stuck up for me. So, and after, they were a bit like, ooh, that was a bit, you know, it was just really weird. And then it was a few months later, I was with my nephew, and he was playing with Dinosaurs, and I was needing I wanted to finish my album, and like I was you know, brainstorming concepts, things I wanted to sing about, and he's like, hey Rachie, why did you write a song about a dinosaur? And I was like, I think you hit the nail on the head there. So that's when that's how it came about. And then it just turned into something really fun, because we made a whole music video, and I went out on eBay and tried to buy all these like really old rubbish gear. And then I was like, we're going to buy all this rubbish gear for like a tenner, hi-fi speakers and all this, and then we're going to smash the studio. And I did have to tone the lyrics down a bit, because I was just like so angry, and then I got it all out of my system, and then we had like loads of fun shooting the video. But that video is not directed at sort of YouTube at all. So that's when I was like, oh damn, guys, it's not about you, I promise, it's really not. So you know, I have had the 1 or 2 comments on YouTube, you know, get back to the kitchen, that kind of thing, but it's just really kind of like, guys, you living in the medieval times here. So it, you know, we can't let it get to us, because then we probably just quit, you know. And I know some girls who do get it really bad, and I get angry for them. I want to be able to go and just stick up for them, basically. But it's a weird one, man. It's you know, it makes you think, like, I want to work with women. I work with women, like, because I like being girls, and I like to show other girls that, you know, you can do this. But then that's kind of silly. Like, why is it not just that I could work with anyone I want to? You know, so
I feel,
if you know what I mean,
in the YouTube, it's so much more balanced, and like we were talking about, it just seems friendlier.
It's
and
so friendly, like
more whereas the traditional music industry is it's so hard, because you're friends with Annie and
Hannah. Yeah, really
Annie
good
Hannah.
mates. Yeah,
they used to come to my jam night in Guildford.
Cool.
When they were at ACM, and I can remember. Hopefully, I remember it rightly. They'd come along and they were like, "Oh yeah, do you know any way into the session stuff?" And I I was pretty down on it by that time anyway. And I can remember, they were already doing YouTube videos back then. But to see how that spiraled, to see it like Mary, Little Bad Snacks.
Yeah, Bad Snacks is awesome. Yeah.
I know that she really struck. I can sense her pain, which is that similar thing of like, I'm legit. I'm not just a girl doing it. I'm legit. Listen to it.
She's not just legit. She's like unbelievably good.
She's a superhero. Yeah. But you're a superhero too. You're doing, and that's what I mean when I hear and I see your output of the videos, and then doing music. It's so hard to do it all at once. So I just think,
thanks,
it's amazing.
Jack. It's definitely you've got to balance it, between like obviously still making good music, focusing on your craft. And then, sharing stuff that you think people will be up for watching, So it's like it's definitely a balance, but like
I was saying about Annie, what would you say to like, your 15-year-old self?
Oh God!
Right now, if you were 15 and you came up to Rachel K Collier and you're there going, "Hey, I really like music and I play sick licks."
Do you know, it's funny. I feel like I've matured in the last 6 months since releasing my album. Like when I was doing my album, I was really like music industry focused and just like, want to get a record deal, all of that. I'm just like, no, you know what? Everything, and I hate this saying because obviously I've had bad stuff happen to me in my life. Everything happens to a reason, but I do think just trust. If you just focus on something you love and you're into it, just go with it. And honestly now, looking back, I feel like everything has been a stepping stone until now. So I don't think there's much I would change actually, in the journey. Yeah, it's been like a long journey, and I'm still flipping on it, but it's cool. I feel like every little stepping stone, which might feel horrendous at the time, is going to help you for the next step, So all this kind of, I used to think that, like, I would never, I always dreamed, obviously, of getting, signed, things like that. But now I'm, like, really chilled out about it. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I'm totally free. I get to do whatever I want. I actually really like being an independent artist. And, even, and like me and Mary talk about it, it's like, if someone even came off with, millions and millions of pounds, it's still like, well, that would take away my freedom, which actually I really like. So I just feel like you can get caught up in this, vision of where you want to go. But sometimes when you don't, if the vision goes a bit how you not imagined it, it's actually going to be okay. So I would just say to my 15-year-old self, just carry on doing your thing. It's going to be all good. So, touch wood.
You're going to bump into some dinosaurs, but don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll write a song about it.
But yeah, you're right, actually.
We'll make money out of those arseholes.
Yeah, exactly. So that Dinosaur song, I was so chuffed. It got playlisted on the Radio 1, Record of the Week, the Introducing Record of the Week. So that was amazing.
Oh, killer.
Yeah.
Well, because it really stood out to me. It felt like I was listening to, like, if Kanye could sing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I loved it.
It had that dark, twisted fantasy kind of, all the distortion and the beat was
so
heavy.
much distortion. That song was really fun to write. The bitter and so it was actually a synth riff, and I had like a cool verse melody, but this happens all the time. I'm trying to get the good chorus, and I've already got this whapping riff in there, and I was like, hang on a minute, that riff is quite hooky. I'll just sing to the riff, and that's what happened with Poison as well. Bum 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 bum. It was a bass line. And I was trying to write this melody over it. And I was like, hang on. Drinking pour. Oh, yeah, this works. So...
look at that. The top liner. I love how you fill out every role in the business, right? And do you release the stuff, all the stuff's independently on your own label, is it?
It's all self-released.
And this is just the beginning, Rachel. It's the beginning.
Yeah.
Like you say about, I work all the time with people with record deals, and they're prisoners. And they're miserable.
Well, yeah. It's funny.
They're miserable. And their life, they feel it's over. A lot of them are very sad. And where it's like, where you're at now, and all of us on YouTube, and everyone, there's a future in it. I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I got mates who are in massive deals, mates who are in little deals, then I'm self-releasing. And every time I hang out with them, we all bitch about what we don't like about if we're self-releasing, if we're signed, if we're blah, blah. And then I usually come away thinking, oh no, it's all good. Like, obviously it would be nice if someone was like, hey, I'm gonna, you know, help you market this stuff.
Yeah, but you've got all the skills. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that 15-year-old self, like, I wish you should give her a high five, because would you imagine that you'd have all these skills? Did you think you would be making your own music back then?
Do you know, that's all I used to do. From when I was like 12, I just used to play my rubbish, you know, DJX Yamaha keyboard, had preset beats. I used to write songs, 2 fingers like this, really.
It's just in you, yeah.
And that's all I did when I was growing up. So actually, sometimes when I see a picture of me now and all my gear and my studio, it's awesome because it's like nothing's really changed. I've just got a few more keyboards and a much better tape player, Abelton Live. And
Killer rig.
You know, so I feel like sounds so cheesy, but it was inevitable, you know? So, and I'm really happy that I get to do this. It's so cool. I just get to make music, which is just, I see music. I feel like no matter what's going on in the world, and I get this even when I listen to other people's awesome music. I feel the same when I listen to an awesome piece of music to when I'm making an awesome piece of music. I get that buzz from both. So it's like if you can have the music buzz, or if it's in art, or if it's in anything in life, then I feel like you just will be happy, you know? I sound like a cheese ball today. No,
you're not. And it's such a pleasure to finally meet you, because what I've seen, it's just nice to know that it's all real. Because sometimes, you know, until you meet someone, you never know if it's all real.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And I want people to, I think, like the top brass at Andertons were just blown away by you, like the energy. But what I've been blown away by is the output of your stuff. So people, if you're still here, go check out on Spotify. Would you mind if I wrap us up with a few? Have you ever watched Pensado's Place?
I've heard of it. Don't think I've watched it. Is it a YouTube channel?
It's a YouTube channel. Yeah. And it's producers, killer producers on there. And at the end, they do a game called Batter's Box. Oh, yeah. Where he asks a series of questions. And would you mind doing it with me, where you just say the first thing that comes into your head? Okay, yeah, cool, do it. But then in an English modification, I'm going to call it the final over, in a very English way. Cricket. So it's like a cricket analogy. Yeah. That's how we're good. All right, cool. 6 of the best, whatever we're going to call it. Let's try it out, all right? All right, go for it. Ball 1, distortion. Saturator. Reverb. Valhalla. 1 VS software instrument. Ooh, ProMars, plug out. Cheapest bit of gear that made one of your final recordings. Oh God. Probably like a really bad shaker. A really bad shaker? Yeah. 5, bass. ProMars. ProMars, loving that ProMars. Yeah. And final ball. Mm-hmm. If there was something to arrive in the post in 10 minutes time, any bit of musical equipment. Musical equipment. Yeah. What would you want it to be right now? Ooh. Anything in your dreams, what do you fancy? What are you gassing over? Do you know what? I would like one of those nice guitars. What are they called? Telecaster. Oh, the Teleacoustics. Is it that? Yeah. Well, is it acoustic one, or do you want a full-on? No, the funky electric ones. Yeah, I would like a new guitar. That's so random, isn't it? Do you want to know? That's good. Yeah, because I've been trying to learn the bass and that, and I've got the Rickenbacker here. And, yeah, that's posh. And obviously for production, it's I've started. This was the first time the other day it tweaked. It was like different guitar tones. Oh, and then so now I've got my eye on but I'm still really bad, so I'm gonna wait. Can't justify it yet. I bought the bass, but you know. And be sure to give us a call at Andertons. Thank you. And we'll do. Yeah, we'll sort you out some stuff. I'm saying cool. That. I know, because I know that the boss loves you. Oh, so okay, that's good to know. You're getting it. Rachel, thank you so much. Oh, no, I hope that thank you. It's been a pleasure. And hopefully one day in real life, we're only half an hour outside London, so if you're ever here. Amazing. Cool, Jack. and I'm gonna jam. I'm gonna drive home listening to you, and so's Tay Tay.
Yeah, do it. Cool.
Right, high five. Let's do it.
Choose the camera.